Let's see. Okay, we should be live now. Let's see. Somebody wanna? Okay, see, it's going to an ad. I'm trying this different. I have my phone on here and then my PC down here, so I can read better. So it's going to be delayed. Okay, somebody want to just? Okay, I see a thumbs up, so that's good. All right, I think we're up and running here. All right. Just give me 1 second to adjust this a little bit here. Okay, here we go. Now, let's see. We can see. Okay, thanks. All right, now I see everybody coming in. Well, thanks for joining in. This is my second attempt at this, and I'm you have to know that I am the worst when it comes to technology. So this is just amazing. I'm getting this done. Hey, I'm seeing a lot of names here that I recognize. That's cool. Very cool. So I guess I should. Most of you folks on here kind of know me, I think, but let me just give a little introduction. And it's interesting. I'm learning here, so my PC is actually buffering and trying to keep up with my phone. So hopefully yours is working with my phone. So I'll just use it down here to read comments and questions. So first of all, let me just give you a brief introduction. My name is Glenn, and I have no certifications after my name. I have no degrees. I don't have any of that fancy stuff. I'm not a certified pet nutritionist and all other stuff. My story was a very long one, but I'll keep it short. Basically, I got out of the Army, didn't know what I was going to do with my life, and started working at a pet store because I've been a dog lover my entire life. Actually, all animals, every living creature, but dogs are my all-time favorite. And started working at the pet store. I was married at the time, and my wife started working there part-time. Long story short, I became the manager, and we carried these brown bags of Science Diet pet food that I had no idea what it was. All I knew is it was crazy expensive. It came in brown paper bags. The grease would leak through the bag. They were pretty gross, actually. But as a manager of the retail store, people were coming and buying this stuff. And if you're in retail, you love when somebody's buying something regularly. So every 4 to 6 weeks, those customers would be in. And one day, an IMS rep came in, and Bud Most was his name. This was in San Antonio, Texas, by the way. And he introduced me to IMS. And IMS had cool names like Eukanuba and fluorescent colored bags. Okay, I may have to turn this PC off, I think, so that I'm not interrupting. So sorry about that. But anyway, little old lady asked me, what's the difference between IMS and Science Diet? I had no idea. And I always would joke to vet techs when I would do seminars that I had to do research. And this was research back when you needed books. There was no internet back then. And that's when I started learning about nutrition. And I really just loved it, really thought it was cool. Long story short, I got a job as a distributor rep for a company in New York City, of all places, that carried IMS and Science Diet. And it was at the Westminster Dog Show. I'm actually working the IMS booth. And I walked over to the Hills booth, and they had two veterinarians there. IMS didn't have any. That should have told me something. And I hit these guys with, soy is bad, dogs are carnivores, all this stuff, on and on and on. And these two guys just kind of calmly went through and explained to me nutrition. And remember, I went home that night and I told my wife, I've got to go work for that company. They're amazing. And I did. They ended up hiring me. And for 34 years, they wowed me with their science. I got to meet Dr. Mark Morris Jr. You can look him up, famous guy. And I just loved it. It was the best job in the world. So when I retired, I just couldn't let go. I thought I was done. I got rid of all my slides, all that kind of stuff. Basically, my job was day in, day out training veterinarians and their teams on how to use therapeutic nutrition with their cases. And again, even though I had no formal education at all, not college or anything, but Hills would fly me to Topeka regularly. And I was meeting with the board certified nutritionists that formulated these diets. So it was just a blast. It was just awesome. And so that's why I'm so passionate about it now. When I retired, I discovered puzzles. I think you can see this one here, and started really enjoying puzzles. And I found YouTube, and of course, I made the terrible mistake, if you want to call it that, of going in and putting in pet food or pet nutrition or something like that. And that's when I got hit with, oh my goodness, all this horrible, just horrible bad information out there, and it just was drove me nuts. My son said, "Hey, Dad, start your own YouTube channel." I was like, "Yeah, right." And here it is about a year and a half later. I think it's about a year and a half, something like that. And it's almost 3,500 subscribers. And I've met so many of you, and we've interacted, and it's just been awesome. And I've learned a lot. And so that's why I'm here. So my main objective, I'm not sponsored by anybody. I don't want to be sponsored by a pet food company, including Hills. I want to just be honest and straightforward with everything I know and try to help you decipher all the BS and marketing. And it just really, I love doing this, but there's days I just feel like, the David and Goliath thing. There's just too much misinformation. It's hopeless, but here I am. So anyway, I'm going to go through and if yeah, so it did freeze, and but I was able to reconnect right away. So hopefully we're okay. Let me see. Does anybody? Mark Morris Jr. Yes, they are legends, and Mark Morris Jr. Mark Morris Sr. of course is the legend, but his son was equally as brilliant and the most humble man I ever met. Brilliant, and he and I would sit down. He would treat me like a fellow colleague. Here was this kid with no education, and he was just amazing. So my screen is showing a commercial. So I'm assuming you all are getting that commercial. Just bear with me a second. I don't want to. Okay, so hopefully we're back. Sorry, I can't get rid of the commercials. So, okay, so now I'm back. Hopefully that meant the commercials are gone. And we'll see if this is going to work with my computer or not, but I can't see very well otherwise. So would you put Blue Buffalo in the same category as Purina Pro Plan, Hills, and Science Diet? Mainly wondering because of the stringent research behind the scenes for each product. No, I would not put Blue Buffalo anywhere near the category of I hate to call them the big three because that's a negative term, the big kibble. No, Blue Buffalo was a marketing company from the start. The guy that created it had done 7 different businesses before he came on to pet food. I remember when Blue Buffalo hit, right with all the all natural foods, and they were just ones that succeeded. Where others failed, they went ahead. And we used to call it blue diarrhea because there was a time if you asked 10 veterinarians what food is causing issues in your clinic, they all would tell you that it was Blue Buffalo. I've done videos on their nutrient levels, and they're nothing to write home about. They're not impressive at all. So no, I would definitely not put them in the same category. It's more marketing. It really is. So it doesn't say they can't come out. I did a comparison of wilderness versus their basics life protection, I think, and the basics life protection was actually pretty decent compared to their blue wilderness. And I will tell you, somebody from the industry, every time a food company makes an all natural or a premium of their original, they usually have a lousier nutrient profile than the original, but you're paying more money for it. So it's kind of crazy. So I want to try to get in here. So I have to apologize. This is still kind of new to me. It's so easy to fool people, impossible to convince them they've been fooled. There's actually a famous quote out there that it's hard, needs to step up their marketing and get a little more aggressive. I think Royal Canin's actually they're much more into marketing with their species appropriate and stuff like that. Not species, breed specific. I'm sorry. And Purina, they're kind of marketing geniuses. Well, look at Hills just came out with that insect protein diet. So there you go. I was shocked that Hills would be one of the first of the mainstream companies to come up with, what was it, pollock and insect, and I've heard some good things about it. So yeah, don't try to figure out the logic behind. Hills makes an excellent high energy food. It used to be called Performance back in the day. It still exists, and it's sold only to the military and the police. Hills will not sell it to the general public. It is a great high performance, high energy diet, but with controlled protein. It doesn't double as a puppy food. It's really excellent stuff, but you can't get it. So if you're a breeder or a show person or a musher or something like that, geez, how many dogs out there that even Hills reps are using Purina Sport because of the higher fat, higher energy content, where they'd much rather be on a high performance diet that's not a puppy food. So, yeah, don't I can't figure out companies as to why they do some of the stuff they do. Let's see, Nutrition RVN. Thank you for being here. I appreciate that. Yeah, and I know you're connected with Royal Canin. So yeah, as far as research, sorry guys, I don't know if I'm starting to get a cold or not here, but grandkids are great for bringing germs home. Um, yeah, I think that the research is going on. You'll never know the research they're doing till all of a sudden it shows up one day in a new diet. Just like Hills, I had no idea they were researching insect protein and stuff like that. So I'm sure Royal Canin's doing all that stuff. I mean, I get crazy when people try to compare these diets. And I think, look at Royal Canin and Hills. They were studying large breed growth and diet formulations back in the 1970s. That's where large breed puppy came from, and they never get credit for the amazing stuff they do because it's all in the background. Nobody sees it. Everybody knows Dr. Becker and Dr. Judy and Rachel and Rodney, all these superstars on the internet. Nobody knows the incredible board certified nutritionists that came up with KD or UD or Royal Canin's, hypoallergenic diets. You don't know the names of those people because they're too busy in the labs doing the work. They're not the celebrities out there promoting themselves. So let's see. Sarah again, why? Yeah, Ashley's adding what other ingredients? Why do they use the same exact ingredients, for example? Well, I don't want to speak as a nutritionist here, but if you have ingredients, whether it's corn gluten meal and meat meal and flaxseed and fish oil, and those are the things that work. Those are the things that have a history of delivering the nutrient levels that we want in each diet. You stick with them. And a lot of it comes down to supply. I mean, there's times where Royal Canin, I'm sure, I forgot the, I think it is Sarah, actually, but the nutrition RVN, sorry. Your message is gone here. There's times where food companies, especially the larger ones, may have to opt for a different ingredient because supply is down, or the quality of what they usually use is subpar, doesn't meet their needs, so they're going with a different ingredient. So there's so much to it. The supply of different ingredients will change. For a while, Royal Canin and Hills could not get rabbit, and you think, okay, that's, you joke about it, but come on, you producing rabbit, that should be the easiest thing in the world, but yet it was really difficult to get. And so sometimes it's just a matter of cost, and if these ingredients work and we can get them consistently from consistent suppliers, why would we experiment with more? I do understand the difference of going for a vegetarian diet or a vegan diet, which I'm getting, just I don't want to open a can of worms, but I'm getting more and more interested and intrigued by those type diets. I really am. I don't know if I'm ready to try Zuzu and Bella on them, but I do find it intriguing. So I want to get on here and make sure I'm not crazy Disney girl, right? Why change what's working, right? Bo Yeshua, why did I feed her? I'm so lost. Okay, so I'm so lost. Everything looks bad. Should I make my own? Okay, this is a really good point. I'm going to lose pieces here of this puzzle. Everything looks bad because the marketing of today is, oh, you're feeding that, you're basically killing your dog. You need this. Okay, that's the new marketing. Not new. It's been around a while. Dr. Ray said this one day, and I had to laugh, and she's so right. there's really no diet out there that's going to kill your dog. And there's no diet out there, unfortunately, that's going to let your dog live forever, okay, or into their 30s or 40s. It ain't going to happen. Nutrition works with the genetics of the dog. So the biggest portion of how healthy your dog is going to be isn't the food. It's the genetics that the dog is either blessed with or cursed with. Now, nutrition, we can then work with that genetics and say, okay, we're going to control these nutrients, or we're going to help reduce the risk of this or whatever. And now that we're getting into gene expression and stuff, and the microbiome, those are two areas that are going to just totally change um, how we look at nutrition. Unfortunately for you, the consumer, it's going to be Hills, Royal Canin, and Purina doing that research. You're just going to be hearing all the marketing from the other folks out there that are playing ingredients. So I have to keep up with, with this here. So everything looks bad. It's not that bad, okay? And again, now I am biased. I did a video on bias. We're all biased. We all have our experience that we live through, and that's what shapes our perception of looking at facts. So I'm just as guilty. I love the big research companies that have spent millions of dollars, maybe because I knew those people personally. I knew their passion. I saw the results of their research, whether Royal Canin, Purina, or Hills. I saw it in vet clinics every day. I saw lives changed. I saw lives saved with these diets. So for me, my real bias is when people like Dr. Judy or Dr. Becker get on their high horse about all natural or species appropriate and all that other stuff and tell me that all those diets are McDonald's. Yeah, I get pretty get pretty fired up. Um, so things are not that bad. I would stick with the main brands, though. I really would, because I trust them more than any other food. But again, what do I do in my videos? Show me the nutrients. That Purina makes some diets aren't that great nutrient wise, and they make others that shock me that are really super good. So no one's looking at nutrients anymore. So let me catch up on some of this here, because there we go. Now I figure out how to move the cursor here. So, let's see, ingredients, Linda Bell. Okay, Linda, you're not hurting your dog. Okay, and to answer the part of the other question, if you're doing it yourself, that's the biggest risk there is. And even the proponents of doing it yourself will tell you 60% of people do it wrong. Okay, that's the real danger. If you're feeding a commercially balanced food, sure, it may be a little excessive here and there, you're not killing your animal. And a lot of it is, see how well they're maintaining weight, they're doing well. When they hit about 7, do some blood work. If the blood work comes back good, you're doing fine. Don't the pet food manufacturers are trying to drive you into this insanity, and it just is wrong. Okay, let me see. Everyone provides a formula with no corn, wheat, or soy except Royal Canin. I kind of give Royal Canin credit for that, because Hills did it out of pressure, because it's what the market wants. So give them what they want. I do like what Hills says. If you prefer to have a diet without corn, wheat, or soy, here it is. There could be a dog that is allergic to wheat. That could be out there. So I'm fine having the option. But Hills is very honest. They don't say corn, wheat, and soy are bad, so feed this. They're just saying, hey, we make an option for you if that's what you want. I like that a whole lot better than lying, saying corn is a filler and here's our food that doesn't have cheap fillers. As soon as I hear fillers, I know it's BS, and I really get disappointed in companies that do that, but they all do. Danielle, most companies use different ingredients for marketing purposes. RC and Hills don't change ingredients because they go by nutrient levels. Don't fix what's not broken. Again, but Danielle, you're right. But what did I just say? As far as no corn, wheat, or soy, Hills definitely, that was all marketing, keeping up with the Joneses. Just like indoor cat. I want to make sure I get to all the questions here, but indoor cat, it's been years now. But I think Imes or Nutro, somebody came out with the first indoor cat, and the other companies followed because the darn stuff sold. Why? Because people identify, well, I have an indoor cat, so I should feed indoor cat food. So our marketing people went to the Hills nutritionist and said, we need an indoor cat diet. And the nutritionist said, there's really no such thing as an indoor cat diet. That's just marketing. And they said, well, we need a diet. So what did the nutritionist said? Well, indoor cats, they lay around, so they gain weight easy. So maybe controlling calories makes sense. They groom themselves a lot, so they get hairballs. Well, you know what? We have hairball light. Let's just take that, tweak a few ingredients, put it in a different bag, and sell it as indoor cat. And sure enough, that's what they did. Most people don't know this. If you look at the ingredient panel, I think you'll see like two ingredients are flipped. Indoor cat did so well marketing wise. Now, if you go into PetSmart, you'll see eight or 10 different indoor cat diets. You know, it's just out of control. So if you're the consumer, you're looking at all this and it's just mind boggling. I will tell you, I know I'm rambling here. Everybody, Royal Canin, Hills, and Purina are guilty of one thing. One thing they are definitely guilty of is making tons and tons of diets to get more shelf space in PetSmart and Petco and to sell more product. You could really, at least a third, I bet, of the products from RC, Hills, and Purina could be taken off the shelves, and they would meet every need out there. Now, I'm talking about healthy dogs and cats. I'm not talking about therapeutic. They don't overlap. Therapeutic, every one of them is needed. I'm talking about just healthy pet food. So again, as a consumer, you're stuck with all these options when really you don't need that many. So let me see here. So weird talking and not hearing back. I wish you guys could talk back and not write, but let me see. Ashley, I feed my cats based on phos. Yeah, Ashley saying I decide on the food I'm going to feed based on the phosphorus levels on a dry matter basis. The foods with the lowest levels of phosphorus get my money, and they should, because two things. What does it indicate? It indicates if phosphorus is low, especially if it's a high protein cat food, it means that company's spending good money on pure, clean meat sources, whether it's fresh meat or meat meal, whatever, it doesn't matter. Okay, it's telling you the quality is there, that they're investing the money. Second is, which Ashley knows too well, having lost cats to kidney disease, that lower phosphorus level through the years is just helping to reduce the risk of that cat ever having kidney disease. Doesn't prevent it. High phosphorus doesn't cause it. High protein doesn't cause it. It's just over the years. Now, I know Ashley was probably doing blood work, but most cat owners, they don't catch kidney disease till stage 3 or 4 when the cat is showing signs. At that point, it's almost too late. We can hopefully save them, give them more years, but the idea is to catch it early. Doesn't it make sense, as Ashley's saying, to feed a cat food right on after kitten food, right on 1-year-old cat, right on through to 6 or 7, a diet that controls those minerals? Not only is she reducing the risk of kidney disease, and again, I say reducing the risk. If the cat's genetically predisposed to kidney disease, that low phosphorus is going to be a benefit, but also for urinary issues. You know, who wants stones and crystals? So we're looking at magnesium, calcium, phosphorus. All those can be controlled. I show in my videos plenty of diets out there where those mineral levels are extremely high. That's really putting your cat at risk. So Ashley is absolutely right. And ironically, that phosphorus level will, you think the higher price foods would have lower phosphorus, better quality. What do we find? Not true at all. It's all over the board. Why? Because no one looks at nutrients. Everybody just looks at the ingredient panel. Let's see, the nutrition RVN. I'm sorry, I forgot your first name. I think it is Sarah, though. I was just looking at some studies and consumer studies the other night. So you're definitely a nerd just like me. The marketing tide has turned to focus on killing your pet. You're right. And avoid this so they live forever rather than nutrition. Absolutely. I mean, it really, you know, and you're a lot younger than me, but you know, I've been in this, it seems like my whole life, my whole adult life, and it just breaks my heart that there are people that love their animals the way I do, and I know that love, I know that commitment, and to be so bamboozled and so fooled, it's hard. Um, let's see. Jessica. Okay, sorry, I was calling you Sarah. So Jessica and nutrition RVN guys. I just got on Instagram. Now I haven't done anything on Instagram. I'm still trying to figure it out. Jessica's been trying to help me, but the reason I got on there is some great people. Nutrition RVN. You really need to check out Jessica's page, whatever you call it, on Instagram. Lots of good information, and there's a few others on Instagram, and bug her. She needs to spend more time on YouTube and get long videos out because her information is great. And I am going to bug her about her credentials and stuff at another day. Let's see. I would make sure to compare the cost per day basis, not per bag. That's very true. And that is very true. You could have I remember, even when I was a retailer, you could have a grocery food that's 10% fat and a premium food that's 20% fat. Well, guess what? You're going to be feeding a whole lot less of that premium food. So even though it costs more per bag, the cost per day could be very equal. So that is something that is definitely true. A lot of times we look at price per pound. I do that on my channel, and even that's unfair because again, the caloric density of the food can mean you're feeding a whole lot less. So, uh, dry matter basis is in Ashley mentioned it. Dry matter. Um, I don't want to open a can of worms, and I don't want to start muddying the waters. But I think the dry matter basis is gonna get sticky in a little while. It may take a year or two, but as we're playing with different um, prebiotics to affect the microbiome, that's going to affect digestibility and absorption, which means you might have a food like calcium that appears high in the dry matter percentage, but that's because of the absorption rate has now been changed because of the new fiber sources coming in. And again, I don't open up a can of worms here, but I will tell you when you talk to, and Jessica, I'm sure would confirm this, when she's talking to nutritionists at Royal Canin, the way I would talk to the nutritionists at Hills, they talk at a way different level. They really do. You wouldn't even recognize all the stuff we talk about on social media about this and that and all this. They never talk about that. That's not even in their radar. They're all at these other levels. Protein is amino acids. They don't talk about protein. They talk about amino acids, and that's why they have no problem with corn gluten meal and things that the social media celebrities go crazy over. So it's I'm sure eventually I'm going to have to address it, but I don't need to yet. But I'm just throwing the idea out there. Do you know anything about the ratio that is optimal for omega 3s and 6s? Great question, Lion C. It depends. If you're looking at a diet, or most typical diets are going to be anywhere from a ratio of 8 to 1 to 10 to 1, with omega 6s being the high. Okay. And that's great because omega 6s are great for skin and coat. Omega 3s tend to be from ingredients that are more expensive. But if I'm feeding an arthritic dog or one that's older and becoming arthritic, okay, maybe they're not totally there, but they're going there. I really want to get those 6s down and the 3s up. And like Hills makes Hills Purine and Royal Canin make an arthritis diet for dogs. And what they do is, I may get this backwards, so don't get mad at me. I don't have all my slides anymore, but from memory, Royal Canin brings that ratio down to like 3 to 1, omega 6s over omega 3s. That's much better than 10 to 1, right? Purina brings it down to even, I think it was 2.7 to 1. So they're making that ratio, you're getting more 3s and less 6s. But Hills is the only one that makes a diet that actually is an inverted ratio. We're getting more 3s to 6s. And that's the magic behind that arthritis diet. And I've seen it work miracles. It's not glucosamine chondroitin. That's the most unproven thing out there. It's in there. It's all anecdotal. Don't let anybody, you need a supplement that has proven levels, not added to a food that's just there to make you feel good. But inverting the omega 3s and 6s and then making sure the omega 3s are filled with EPA for the dog and DHA for the cat. That's the magic omega 3 that actually turns down the gene that's producing the agrokinase enzymes that are destroying the cartilage. So I know that's a that's a mouthful, but to answer your question, most wellness foods are going to be high in 6s and low in 3s for the reason I mentioned. When you get into disease management, that's when we start really playing with those levels. Now, again, when you say omega 3s, it could be from flaxseed, which is okay. You need a lot of flaxseed, though, or fish oil, which, of course, is much better. And here again, this is how the industry has these secrets. Remember, Royal Canin, they were using mostly fish oil. Hills was using flaxseed and fish oil for a while. And if I was the RC rep, I could say, well, we're using fish oil, they're using flaxseed, so we're better. But if I was a Hills rep and was really dishonest, I could say, yeah, but look at how much more omega threes we're delivering versus Royal Canin. Yeah, that sounds good, but the real story was the reason we had to use more is because we're using flaxseed and it wasn't near as high as fish oil. So see how it's just it's a shame, but marketing just rules the day. What can I say? All right, let me see. Go on here. It's hard to find a cat food with the right nutrient panel. I was on the hunt for my senior cat. The best I found for my cat was Purina Pro Plan Senior Vitality, I think it's called. I'm not going to turn my camera around to show you my my whiteboard over here, but I have Science Diet adult cat food, and I have the +7, and I have the renal diet, the KD diet, because I want to do a video on Hill's kidney diet and joint diet because it's such an awesome diet. So I don't want to promote Hills too much on the channel, but there's a few favorite diets that I want to share. And let me see what your name, Christine. Um, I'm looking at it now, and it's the perfect nutrient control where the adult is 219. Let me go to phosphorus. Okay, it's 165 milligrams in the adult, and it's 155 in the senior, and it goes down to 104 in the renal diet. The one thing I love about Hills, this is why I'm a nutrition guy and not an ingredient guy, is when I look at their nutrient levels, they're consistent with their marketing. And again, I'm biased. I'm the first to say it, but whenever I have Hill's book, where is it? This I got this gigantic book here, and vets get this. This is how big it is. All the nutrient numbers, everything is in here. Dry matter basis, as fed, guaranteed now. Well, not guaranteed analysis, but milligrams per 100 kcals. And when I look at there's not too many surprises when I look. I get what I would expect to see. When I do that with other food companies, the one that have websites with milligrams per 100 kcals and dry matter, I'm looking at two companies now that have done presentations. They have board certified nutritionists. Their presentations are amazing. I want to, share some of it. But then when I went and looked at their diets, the diets were all life stage. The diets had really high mineral content. So I need to call them and just try to, I really want to promote them. And then when I went to the actual nutrients, it was like, okay, now this is going to really confuse people. Listen to this board certified nutritionist saying all this stuff that I say, giving me credibility. But then when we look at their diet, it doesn't make any sense. So I'm holding back on those. It's been, as somebody said, it's getting really hard because food companies are moving away from good nutrition into the marketing, just like Jessica was saying that they're just into we're going to save your dog, and the other foods are just going to kill your dog, and it's really sad. Let's see. Regarding flax and soy, they think it may be an endocrine disruptor, so it might have some sort of effect on breeding fertility. The evidence is weak, though. Again, this is from Jessica. I remember hearing different things. Even breeders. How do I say this? Breeders sometimes are a little eccentric. Sorry, Sarah, and those of you that are breeders, but you're very passionate and you have you're set in your bias ways too. We all have them. But there's definitely been trends when it comes to gestation and breeding and stuff. And who knows? That's the thing about science. I mean, I'll be the last to say, oh, we have it all figured out and just trust the science. One, science is for sale sometimes. Let's face it, that's just the way it is. People can and even Dr. Judy said it on one of the videos I shared. There's a study out there that'll prove anything, and it's true. There's so many studies now, and you have to be. And Jessica will support me on this. The average person would look at a study and just say, "Wow, that sounds great. I guess the world is flat," or dogs should eat onions, whatever. Because we don't have the training to know. Well, wait a minute. Let's look at the protocol. Let's look at the standards. Let's look at all these other terms I can't even say that I hear from nutritionists. And they'd be the ones to say, yeah, this is a bogus study because this, and this. So we're going to disregard their results. That's all over the place. There are lousy studies done everywhere. That's why you really hate to say you have to go with the consensus, but you have to trust the majority of the studies, not just pull one out of thin air and say, well, here we go. This proves, now let's do some more research. So when it comes to all this kind of stuff, could flax and soy have an effect on the endocrine system? Could very well be. That's for people much smarter than me. And when they come out and say, "Yep, it's confirmed. This is what we found," then I'm the one to share. Well, used to be the one to share it. Um, but I don't want to get out of my lane with new research and stuff like that. Crazy Disney girl. I breed and show Labradors. Okay, so when I said breeders can be a little eccentric, you know what I mean. Come on, you all have to admit it. Little you know, self reflection here. You're not the average pet owner out there, which is good and bad, right? So, uh, Labradors are beautiful. They sure are. Let me see. Best skin and coat, good for an allergic dog. Oh, Lisa, everybody's like, "Oh my goodness, what do you say to that?" If it's a food allergy, a novel ingredient diet where you're eliminating the other ingredients, you've got to go for a good 10, 12 weeks to really confirm if it is that. Usually, it's a protein source. That's why you see venison or duck or things like that. If you think it's environmental, only comes up certain times a year, or it's worse certain times a year, that means it's not just food, it's the environment, which is most likely usually the case. um, then it really gets tough. Hills has a diet. Somebody just mentioned their dog won't eat it, so that's really frustrating. But a Derm Complete from Hills, it's a prescription diet, but it actually has a antioxidant package that normalizes the immune response. Quercetin is the active ingredient. You can look it up. People use it too for allergies. That addresses the immune system because we can't eliminate the environment like we can eliminate a food source. But I do have three videos, the 3 video series on allergies you can take a look at. But it's conversation longer than we can talk about now. I'm sure everybody that knows, yeah, it's pretty frustrating. Um, let's see. And most skin and coat diets that are just good for healthy skin and coat are not really going to help you if it really is a true food allergy. That's a whole different ballgame. You have to eliminate the allergen or get the immune system to be suppressed. Suppressed is probably the wrong word. To normalize the immune system. Um, just increasing the skin barrier, that's nice, but it's not going to do a whole lot. Uh, really happy with the food. It's not taxing on his kidneys. Yeah, that's the whole idea. As Sarah's saying, when I'm feeding a healthy diet to my healthy dog, I just don't want it to be overtaxing. And Dr. Ray has said this many times, and she's a practicing vet. You all should definitely check her out. I know you all do, or you wouldn't know me. But she says, protein, once the animal gets all the amino acids they need, they're done. Giving them more goes into excessive. It doesn't become, ooh, they're getting even more, like the marketing you see of companies. No, you're just giving excess that is going to be more taxing on the kidneys. Now, if they're healthy kidneys, they can handle that. But if they're slowly having diagnosed kidney disease, or renal insufficiency, as it's called, stage 1, you're just making it worse year after year till you get that blood work and decide, oh, okay, we need to do something here. So excessive protein, there is no benefit to it. Oh, and here's Ed. So Ed and I could argue all day long about excessive protein in cats and carbs. I'm gonna get Ed a shirt. Cats love carbs, or what? Cats are carnivorous, or carnivore. That's right, carnivores, right, Ed? Cats are carnivores. They can utilize corn. Ed's on here. Hello, my grandson's soccer team won. Very good. I told you to. I did. I told you to be nice. So you should just listen to all these nice folks because Ed can drive me nuts sometimes. Ashley says I feed Royal Canin too. Sarah, it's the one food they really love. Okay. I've always had big dogs my entire life. Now I am so into little dogs. I mean, I turned into like that little old man with the little grouchy dog. I mean, mine aren't grouchy; they're wonderful. But I see a little tiny dog, I just want to go over and play with it, and big dogs too. But now I'm into little dogs. I don't know why. It's as you get older, I guess. But they do not. They never love their food. They're finicky all the time. Drives me crazy. Um, yeah, Ashley, Jessica likes your good comment about Royal Canin. And my PC has frozen. That's not good. Okay, let me go down where I can see. Okay, Ivana, JD is the best. Talking from experience. Otto is sending you hugs. If I didn't find you, I would still be reading those ingredients. Haha. Um, Hey, if you got turned on to JD by my videos, I am thrilled. I guess I'm gonna have to go up to my phone because my PC is frozen. I do. I love JD. I had a hospital in Parker, Colorado. Um, every geriatric dog, and they were in an area that had a lot of big dogs. So arthritis affects little dogs just as much as big. That's something I learned. I just assumed it was a big dog thing because of their weight and all. And they sold more JD than anybody. And they said their measurement for success is when that arthritic dog is off all meds, all NSAIDs, all glucose, all supplements, off everything, just on JD. That is the goal, and that's success. Anything else is not success. You're still doing all the shots and all the other stuff. What good is JD? And their confidence in it, boy, they were just great at helping pets. Uh, says I have to sign into chat. Oh, I don't want to. Okay, now I guess I'm on my phone. Okay, guys, so just gotta bear with me. Um, oh, my cousin Steve is on there. Okay, that's cool. Hey, Steve. Uh, I just switched. Let's see. That's my cousin Steve in Montana. So hi, Steve. Makeup freak. I just switched to Hills after finding out my 4-year-old Golden has very early kidney disease. Okay, 4 years old. Yeah, that's early. My vet hasn't switched him to a prescription yet. Thank you for your videos. I know I have a video on feline KD. I don't know if there's a canine one or not, but I I don't know how to say it, but Royal Canin, Jessica knows this. Royal Canin has a renal diet. So does Purina. We want to make sure the dog keeps eating. It's harder with cats. Dogs usually will eat, but those renal diets are awesome. With Hills, I love the fact that they actually add broken down amino acids to the diet instead of more meat. It's that there's a camp out there. Oh, they need more protein because of cachexia. They're muscle wasting from kidney disease. What do muscles need? They need protein. Well, we give them protein, we're overtaxing these kidneys that are already compromised. So it's a catch 22. So what Hills did, they actually took broken down amino acids. Don't ask me how in the world they do this, and they put that in the diet so that it's not crude protein, it's not meat protein, it's just the amino acids the muscle needs, but not the protein and the phosphorus that overtax the kidneys. So they did that a couple years ago, which is amazing. And now the last thing they did, and I had already retired, so I'm not even going to get too deep into this, but they learned that the microbiome is definitely adversely affected by kidney disease, and the microbiome actually starts acting on the kidneys, and they've actually changed KD where it has a different prebiotic mix to actually deal with that. So again, the microbiome research is going crazy, but uh, please don't listen to people when they tell you the renal diets don't work or whatever. And if they won't eat one, again, your vet can get the others. They can get all three of those brands, or they could get them through Chewy, just give you a prescription, but stay on a renal diet. Once they're diagnosed, and you know that the 4 years old is scary. That's way too young. But you know what? I've seen dogs and cats live with kidney disease for a long time. So doing the right things now as soon as you can, that's what's most important. Yeah, Ashley, renal diets are phenomenal how they work, really. And it's much more complicated than just, oh, I just found low phosphorus. Oh, there's so much more that I wish I had a board certified nutritionist from Hills sitting here or Royal Canin that could go through and tell you why you want to stick with it. Um, I've learned a lot and really never thought some of the great info you give. Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I'll battle on with that Derm Complete. I don't know if you're okay. You're the one that earlier. I'm sorry I didn't get back to you, but yeah, I wanted to just write back and say, oh, it's so frustrating when you want them on a diet. And again, my Zuzu is not too thrilled when I put her on Derm Complete. She's just got this weird, just every now and then she has issues of scratching, not really bad at all, and then she can go back onto something else. But she didn't like it either. And you don't want to be, you can't add stuff because the whole idea is you're trying to eliminate the other stuff. Could try heating a little bit. You were saying that the smell may be something she doesn't like. So if you heat it, the smell is going to even be stronger. But it's a temperature thing that could make a difference. Maybe adding water, you can try that. Some animals, it repulses them. Others actually like it. But yeah, just keep trying. Um, and let's see here. I'm at the bottom. Let me go back. I don't know what you think of Pecurian now grain free. I know I did a video on these guys, and this is bad. When you get old, I turn 65 next month, official senior citizen. Um, I have made 130 videos, I think. And if you tell me, well, what did you say about that diet in the video? I can't remember anymore. I know I did one on Go and Go and Now. Zuzu's barking for something. Um, and I can't remember. One of them was much better than the other, and I can't remember which one. And when I say better, I just mean the nutrient profile was more in line with optimal than the other. So I do have a video. It'll be in the reviews, the playlist of reviews. You'll find it in there, and you can go check it out. Um, Here's another one. All Out of all the weight management foods, which one do you think is the best for controlling weight for cats? Controlling is different than reducing. Controlling any decent low calorie food, if they say light. I remember AFCO came up with the calorie count, and if you were too high, and this is confirmed, I'm not just making this up, but if you're too high in calories, you can't call yourself light. You have to call yourself weight management or less active or blah blah blah. I remember back in the day, this is a long time ago, IMS less active actually had more calories than Science Diet Adult. But when you see light, Light, that food is actually giving you low calories. Now, I'm just trying to figure out. Oh, my dog is barking to go upstairs. Sorry, Zoo, you got to wait. um, uh, if it's a metabolic thing, then we need to change their metabolism. If it's just you've been overfeeding them and their activity level is really low, control the amount of food, get them exercising a little bit, and it's not that big a deal. And again, when it comes to genetics or weight and metabolism, it is all individual. Okay, it's not like this one works for everybody, just like with people, right? So if it's just a matter of I want to keep this cat lean, which you do want to do, obesity increases the risk of everything from stones to arthritis to all kinds of things. Um, then there's plenty of options, especially if it says light. And most foods now put the calorie count. I think they have to put the calorie count per cup on the bag, so you can compare that way. When they're overweight, now I've got a cat that's carrying around. I mean, let's say it's a decent sized cat, and they're carrying 5 pounds of added body weight, excess body weight, I should call it. You're not going to get rid of the 5 pounds of excess body weight on a cat just by feeding them low calorie. It just ain't going to happen. You're just going to have a very hungry cat that's going to be miserable, begging all the time, and you're going to end up feeding her more because we give in, right? So that's not going to work. I'm sorry to keep promoting Hills, but Hills is the only one that actually has a metabolic diet. The prescription version is metabolic. The Science Diet version is called Perfect Weight. Many people that on my channel swear by it. So do I. Metabolic changed everything. For my 34 years in vet clinics, the failure rate of obesity diets was terrible. And I don't care what Royal Canin, Hills, Purina, didn't matter, because they were all based on controlling calories. Plus, we thought adding fiber was going to satisfy the animal. We kind of found out that once we understood metabolism, if your metabolism is out of whack, that hormone to your brain, that satisfaction hormone, gets turned off. So all those people, the vet techs out there, I have to apologize on behalf of Hills to you when you would send people home on RD, and the people would come back and say, well, my cat's meowing, the dog is begging, and we'd say, oh no, that's impossible. There's so much fiber in that food, it's filled their stomach, it shoots this hormone to their brain. You're crazy. Or your client's crazy. They're not hungry. Now, unfortunately, we know metabolism. We know, yep, that hormone gets turned off. And yes, even though they have tons of fiber and they're pooping up a storm in the litter box or the backyard, they're still not satisfied. Okay. And when I say that, doesn't mean every single time. Jessica from Royal Canin can vouch for this. Doesn't mean every single old fashioned high fiber food failed. It just means we didn't understand metabolism. What metabolic and perfect weight do, they're actually designed not to just reduce calories. They're designed to activate the metabolism so the animal starts burning fat instead of storing it. just like the arthritis diet, they do it at a genetic level where they change the gene expression. It's actually on the perfect weight bag. You can actually, Hill says a little, they don't explain it real well, but it shows the science on the bag. The genes that store fat, we need to downregulate those because they're storing fat too well. That's why the pet's overweight. The fat burning genes are there. They're God put both of them there, but they're down regulated, so they're not burning very much fat. What these diets do, they actually again activate the metabolism. They change the gene expression, so now the fat burning genes are upregulated and the fat storing genes are down regulated. I know that sounds crazy. That sounds nuts. They're doing nutrigenomics in people as well, just not in diets like we can on the vet side. And the stuff is amazing. Again, I was a Hills rep responsible for, well, anytime around 110 clinics, whether it was in upstate New York or in Colorado or New Mexico or Kansas. And the failure rate on our typical obesity diets was embarrassing. Okay, we would have been out of business if we were that way with kidney disease and arthritis and urinary stones. We wouldn't have survived. Now with metabolic, the success rate, and I'm just guessing here. I would say probably the success rate of the old diets was about 10% success. Now I bet it's around 70-80%, because you can even overfeed it a little bit. Don't go too far with this. Cheating isn't cheating if you're allowed to do it, but you can overfeed a little bit because this is not a restriction of calories. This is more changing their metabolism so they burn the calories they get. And I've just seen great results. I know some people on here um, are really thrilled with it, and so hopefully that that was my long answer. See, I can go on and on, can't I? Without okay. I was wondering what you think. Okay, that. Um, I'm sorry, I'm kind of just like in your face here, but okay. What is your opinion of cooked food balanced through a software like the animal diet formulas that allows AFCO recommendations? And okay, and small animal clinical nutrition for specific life stages. Hey, I would say it's the best of both worlds. I mean, let me clarify, because I get not accused, but people think, well, Glenn is pro kibble, okay, and he hates raw, that kind of thing. I don't care what form you want to use. I really don't. I mean, it's really up to you. You could have dry, you could have canned, you could home cook, you could feed raw. Those are all forms to deliver nutrients. Okay. They're all very different as far as and canned, throw canned in there. They're all very different as far as the experience. Some people, hey, it's going to be a dry food. It goes in a bowl, and that's it. That's the end of my commitment. Then you have other people like Ed that have, his sardine Sunday and his this on this day, and the people that cook and do and feed raw and all this other stuff. Not everybody has that commitment. And just like I was saying, that the proponents of home cooked or raw will tell you up to 60% of people do it wrong and have some really nasty deficiencies in the diet. So if you're going to take on that responsibility, and you mentioned in your thing here, in your comments, get a recipe, a trusted recipe from a true board certified nutritionist. And again, I don't want to make, I get disrespectful sometimes, but I'm sorry. Now, Jessica, go to Nutrition RVN, see what a true vet technician that has the credentials and all in nutrition, that certification's legit. Okay, it's not a board certified nutritionist, but that's real. Okay, and it takes a long time to get there. Not this, oh, I'm a certified dog nutritionist because I did 6 hours on Dr. Judy's thing, and I could be Glenn. Glenn's, you can get certified. I'll make up a test in a course, and I'll let you guys all take it. And you can pay me $25. I'll be real reasonable. And if you pass, I'll certify you can be a certified pet nutritionist. I mean, that's how bad it is. So as long as you're getting a real legit, Dr. Remillard, brilliant lady. She used to be at Angel Memorial many years ago. I quote her a lot. She has a service where she will do recipes even for sick animals. Totally trust that. That's the way to go. If you're going to feed raw or home cooked, you got to get a recipe from real people and then stick to it. Okay, Zuzu, you got to wait. I'm sorry. But do I have a preference? Now, I'm going to feed dry food and canned. Canned only because I have little ones and Bella doesn't have a lot of teeth. So, and it's a treat. But I'm not going to do raw. I'm not doing home cooking. That kind. I do give them eggs along with their food, but that it's totally individual. Can you have a great diet, canned, dry, raw, whatever that meets optimal nutrients? Absolutely. But can you have a dry, canned, or raw that is totally unbalanced? Absolutely. So the thank you. I'll let the dog up. Um, so yeah, the form doesn't matter to me. Just do it. Just do it right. And again, if you're buying dry or canned, look at mineral levels. Look at the history of the company. Things like that. Um, I'll never tell somebody they shouldn't do raw, they shouldn't do kibble or whatever. But my main passion is when people don't want to do raw and home cooking and are told that kibble is McDonald's and kibble is ultra processed and it's unhealthy and all this other stuff. I just want to yell at my screen, really. And that ultra processed, unhealthy kibble can dissolve urinary stones and keep a dog with kidney disease alive for years and can manage oh, yikes, I could go on, on and on and on. So that's just an ignorant statement. And it comes from people that are on social media that have DVMs after their name, whether they're retired or not, I don't care. That don't know a whole lot, but boy, they get a lot of attention and it's very frustrating. So I hope that helps. Let me see. When Glenn says it's always the protein, just remember rice, oats, etc. Veggies have protein. Yes. What Susan's saying is when we say protein, that's why if we go back to the 70s, lamb and rice, when lamb and rice became kind of popular as a novel ingredient diet. Now can't use lamb as a novel ingredient anymore. Actually, it's one of the higher allergens now because there's so much of it out there. But why did they do lamb and rice? Well, because corn has protein in it. So you're right. It's not just meat sources, but that's why you change the carbohydrate along with the meat source. Any intact protein in that food can elicit a response. So Susan's absolutely right. Again, everything's a little more complicated than what we kind of talk about. I feel like that's for years actually a good product. Ed, Ashley, glad we can entertain you. Ed, I said behave, so behave. Um, yes, it's uncommon though. That's true. Jessica's saying back to Susan, it's more common for it to be the meat source than a grain source. But again, protein is protein. Every animal is individual, and you got to deal with it. And Jessica, I don't want to say Jessica from Royal Canin, from Nutrition RVN. Go check her out on Instagram, not on YouTube. Um, but she is right. I think both Royal Canin and Hills will agree the novel ingredient approach is old school and it really has been replaced with hydrolyzed protein. Hydrolyzed protein, you basically using enzymes, you break down the protein molecule so it's so small that the immune system doesn't know it's there. So you could have a dog deathly allergic to chicken that could be on a chicken Hill ZD is chicken, but it's hydrolyzed and it has worked great. Royal Canin has HP. I really like HP. They have the um, uh, what's the other one? I'm not. It used to be analogenic, and then they changed it to. And it's not coming to me. But anyway, doesn't matter. There's plenty of hydrolyzed diets out there. They work quicker, and what I love about hydrolyzed diets is they work quicker, usually in about 6 weeks or so. But you're not playing this guessing game. For the lady that we were talking about allergies, let's say you go with venison and it still doesn't do anything. Well, maybe it's not food, or maybe she's just allergic to venison. Let's try duck. Well, geez, now we're going to go another 10 weeks. She can't have anything else, which is really hard to do. Try that. It is hard to not have your dog grab other food from wherever. So you have this guessing game going on. And the other worst thing about the novel ingredient diet, let's say the venison works. Then a year from now, the immune system says, you know what, this venison, we decided we're going to react to that now, and that happens. Okay, with hydrolyzed, It works faster. There's no guessing of a protein source, and guess what? They're never going to react to that hydrolyzed diet. And again, I get so angry when I watch the videos, Dr. Judy, especially Dr. Judy and Dr. Connor saying how hydrolyzed diets, it's nothing but BS. It's just crap, all this other stuff. And yet I saw day in and day out the hydrolyzed diets from both Royal Canin and Hills really saving animals, because some were so bad that they were thinking about putting them down if something didn't work. Um, so again, hydrolyzed, Jessica's right. It's a great way to go. That way it's straight amino. Yeah, it's also my 7-year like soaked kibble, Royal Canin Persian. Yeah, it's funny, especially with cats. They're kind of funny. Some will want it wet, some don't want it. Some will not touch can no matter what you do. And then others love can and won't touch dry. It's just and you're right. You got to watch bacterial growth if you're wetting it. That's true. Good point. Uh, Crazy Disney Girl. We love the perfect weight. Worked wonderfully for our old lady here. Yeah, it's great stuff, and it's kind of neat because it is. So somebody have a hard time convincing me it's not metabolic, almost in a different bag at a whole lot less price. So I've said this on my channel a lot. Hey, if you're getting metabolic and it's worked, great. Don't want to rock the boat, but perfect weight might be an option to try, especially if it's a big breed. It costs a lot to do metabolic. Maybe try the perfect weight and see how it works and save yourself some money. So I do like how Hills has taken some of the vet exclusive technology and moved it into the Science Diet brand. Um, I think that's great. Maybe the vets trying to make money selling the diets wouldn't like it, but there's so few of those. Veterinarians would love to just have the food thing. They want to make the recommendation. They want to know that they trust the diet, whether it's Royal Canin, Purina, Hills. But the day of stocking it in their store and dealing with all that headache for the little bit of money margin they make on the profit, they much rather. I'm sure you guys have seen it where your vet's ready. Oh, go buy it from Chewy. Here's your prescription. They just don't want to deal with it anymore. Can't blame them. So. Um, Let's see, Danielle, perfect weight is the best. And love metabolic. Oh, metabolic mobility. That's the one that takes the arthritis diet and the metabolic diet and combines them. I always said when I would do my seminars, it's probably Hill's canine show off diet because it's the both nutrigenomic diets, the metabolic controlling weight or activating the metabolism, and the JD, which is shutting down the gene that's producing the damage to the cartilage. To take both of those and put them in a diet, that's pretty wild. And why is that? Because you have obese dogs that have arthritis, and you have arthritic dogs that are gaining weight because of inactivity. So having a diet that addresses both of those is super. And with JD with cats, this is might be my next video. I want to do it. I guess I end up doing the stuff I want to do, but I want to do a video on the cat food that is KD plus JD. So it's a joint diet for arthritis and the KD for renal disease. And the main reason is Hills combined them. You know why? Because Hills had an arthritis diet for cats, awesome product, and it didn't sell. Nobody was buying it. So I'd go to my good hospitals and say, "You're not seeing feline arthritis?" And they'd be like, "Oh, we see it all the time." So, well, then why aren't you using this diet? You use all our other diets. You're doing great with nutrition. Why wouldn't you do it? Well, guess what? We get the arthritic dog, or I'm sorry, the arthritic cat. We do some blood work, and what do we find? They have early renal disease. So now they're going on KD. Arthritis is as terrible as it is. KD is priority, or kidneys are priority, so they're on KD. So the beauty of having a KD with the joint benefit in there. Remember, that's the DHA omega-3. Boy, just imagine how great that cat feels when their toxins in their blood start coming down, their metabolic acidosis is addressed, they want to eat again, they're feeling good, and then we take away the pain they're feeling in their joints. That's a new cat. So I'm going to do a video on that pretty quick. So those you cat folks, listen up for that one. And let me see. We are coming. Oh, it's 64 minutes. So I'm assuming that most of you have plenty of other things to do. Some people say you give it. Don't you read? No, you aren't sorry. So yeah, if I did not see your comment, I apologize because this is hard to do. But I'm just going through and see. Certain grains, fishes. Um, Diamond. What do I think of Diamond? I have to look at some of their nutrient levels, and I need to say this because somebody brought up wellness pet food. Wellness is a great website. You can go and look at all the nutrients, even dry matter basis. I think they might even have milligrams per 100 kcals, which is awesome. Um, I did a review on them and I picked one of their diets. I was doing a comparison. So I just grabbed their chicken adult and with a bunch of others, and it actually scored really lousy. And the person put in a comment in like months later, long time later, and said, "Hey, I looked at one wellness food and I really like it, and this particular diet actually has a really good mineral content. It's actually really healthy food." So, I guess my lesson to all of us is there are brands out there. I'm trying to think. Farmino would be another one. Lots of very ingredient based, fancy ingredients, stuff like that, really unique and all. Um, on the surface, I would put them. Oh, there's another farmer's dog or blue buffalo, but then when I look at the nutrient levels, some of their diets are awesome, but not all. Some are more excessive that I would avoid. And I guess wellness is the same way. So I guess I'm saying this about every brand. Um, if you see a review that I do on Diamond, one of their diets, really it's just saying that diet, here's the nutrient levels. Okay. It doesn't mean across the board, just like this one company. I really need to call them tomorrow and say, okay, I love your presentations. Your board certified nutritionist is awesome. Help me understand the formulations of these diets, because I found one that was really good and then others that were really bad. And it's like, well, why would you have bad diets if you have really good ones? So nobody's perfect. There's not, here's the perfect diet and just match it up. You know, we're all doing our best. So when you're looking at companies, I guess I have to say that don't think every single one. Purina, they're cat foods. Some of them are not very impressive. Purina One urinary care. I remember I was shocked. I have a video on it. I think Hairball, Imes scored really well with Hairball. You just never know why a food company, certain of their diets are just awesome diets. But if you're not looking at nutrients, you have no idea. You have no clue. So um, let's see what else. The number of views is up 32% since I got here. Well, they were waiting for you to start blasting me, Ed, or drive me crazy or something, or get into whatever. But we're not going to. We're going to behave tonight. Hey, Army won the. They won the whole conference, right? So that was pretty cool. Why did they all make novel diets if they're old school? Just curious. Um, yeah, Ashley's asking. Well, if hydrolyzed is really placed novel, why do they still do it? Well, it's what have I said about veterinarians sometimes in my videos? You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. And a lot of vets, change is really hard. I will tell you, and this is when I would present Derm Complete, the newest diet from Hills, which again is for environmental and food allergies, first of its kind. I would go through the history that, well, we had novel ingredients since, oh geez, back in the 60s, probably Royal Canin and Hills. Probably wasn't called Royal Canin, probably Waltham at the time. And then hydrolyzed came. I tell you what, I think it took 7 or 8 years for veterinarians practicing, general practitioners, to make the switch to hydrolyzed. They were set on novel ingredients. That's what they grew up on. That's what they learned in vet school. That's what they've used. That's it. So what's this hydrolyzed? What's that all about? And it's chicken. Why would I use chicken when they could be allergic to chicken? It really took quite a bit. And the worst was the derm specialists are even more stuck in the mud than the general practitioners. So now you have general practitioners for a number of years using hydrolyzed, getting incredible results, and then checking with the derm specialist, and then say, "Oh no, you got to do novel." And I say, "Yeah, but we're doing this, and it's working." So finally, and again, it's I don't want to say it's political, but different schools have different biases, not because they're being paid, but the nutritionist at Pennsylvania still likes novel ingredients. The nutritionist at Cornell is big into hydrolyzed, and they both lecture saying, my idea is better. No, this one's better. Blah blah blah. So that's why I think as a manufacturer, you're kind of stuck having to do both right now. Maybe in another 10, 15 years, novel will be gone and it'll all be hydrolyzed. But I think if you ask 10 veterinarians, general practitioners, what do you prefer, hydrolyzed or novel? They're going to say hydrolyzed, just because, again, the reasons I said, it works quicker. I'm not playing a guessing game with protein sources. They're never going to develop an allergy to it. And hydrolyzed was real expensive when it first came out because, I mean, it was space age stuff, even though really it's just like baby formula from the 70s. But novel ingredients were cheaper. So if you're the vet and you got a person that can't afford it, okay, we'll go novel. Now, novel ingredients, again, because of the supply chain out there, they're actually usually more expensive than the hydrolyzed diets. And now there's so many hydrolyzed diets from Royal Canin, Hills, and Purina. If they don't like one, there's another one you can use and get the same results. And now Derm Complete is yet another new addition, saying, okay, what do you do with the environment? And I had a slide, and I would ask the doctors in the audience, what percentage of your allergy cases that you see do you think are environmental and not food? You hear all this food allergy from everybody. What percentage? And I would have a slide ready to go that said 75%, because usually almost every time a group of vets will say, yeah, probably 75% of my allergy cases are actually environmental more than they are food, or they're both. Because again, if your immune system's in overdrive, it's gonna go after protein, it's gonna go after the environment, it's gonna go after all this stuff. So anyway, I hope that answers that. And Ultimino, thank you, Jessica. I couldn't think of the name Ultimino. It used to be analergetic way back, and I have to admit, now you're going to get mad at me, but as a Hills rep, I would make fun of Royal Canin, because when you look at that word analergetic, you just see anal. So I would call it the anal diet, and I would get a few cheap laughs. But I think clearly I wasn't the only one, because they eventually changed the name to a much better name. But now there's a diet that Dr. Judy loves to make fun of. Why? Because Royal Canin uses chicken feathers as the protein source in that food. I made fun of it. Everybody at Hills did. And guess what? We all got to eat crow, or got to eat feathers, because guess what? I had, I won't say many, but I definitely knew of cases, allergy cases, where nothing worked except that diet. Now, again, how do they take feathers and get amino acids out of it? Again, there's people a whole lot smarter than me. Maybe Jessica on her Instagram thing could say something about it. But look at how the critics. Oh yeah, look at what Royal Canin's doing, putting chicken feathers in the food and calling that healthy, and they're not even using meat, they're just using chicken feathers, the crap that goes on the floor everywhere else. Okay, it's all perspective. It's all taken. Got to take it in context. And the critics out there, they don't look at context. They just look at every little. That's why my ingredientist and Jessica shared it on her Instagram. I appreciate that, and gave me credit. I appreciate that too. I do think I really have come up with that word. I don't think I've ever heard it before, but an ingredientist, a person that just focuses on ingredients and misses the whole point of delivering nutrients. And so yes, Ultimino, that was it. What's your thoughts on Nutrina? Same way, Nutrina, I don't know enough about, and I bet it's a big enough line that you would find a really good diet in there somewhere. But again, you just have to look at the nutrients. I wish by law food companies had to just on their website just put, here's the here's the guaranteed analysis on the bag, here's the dry weight percentage, and here's the milligrams per 100 kcals. Boom. You're buying a nutritional product. The government can't, I don't want the government doing too much, but AFCO can't step in and say, hey, show the nutrients you're delivering in that food. Get away from this scammy ingredient panel, which is just ridiculous, and let's talk nutrition. But I'm probably not going to hear that. And yeah, Jessica to Danielle. Yeah, the problem with novel ingredients, over the counter novel ingredients, is they're usually going to be contaminated because they're not plants, veterinary plants, where they're doing the deep cleaning and everything in between, because you have to. If you're cross contaminating, you just did a bunch of beef run, and now you're doing a venison run. Now you're going to have venison and beef. Sorry. So yeah, the cross contamination is a real big problem. Plus, again, novel ingredients, and maybe this is what Jessica means, finding pure venison and pure rendered products that are pure and don't have contamination before they even get to your plant. That's even difficult. So I really do think we're going to see hydrolyzed take over and novel kind of go away. Um, and Lori, thanks, Lori. I love doing this too. And Linda, same thing. Thanks. All right. It sounds like you guys are all saying thank you. So I think that means you're ready to get going. I love doing this. I wish there was a way we could talk like, FaceTime or something, but I'm going to probably start doing this pretty regularly. And you can always on the channel ask, hey, next time you do a live, could you go over this, whatever. I am trying to keep up with comments. I'm really terrible. I lose a comment and then I'll find it a month later and geez, I never even addressed that. And I do try to address all of them, and I will do more reviews as well. For those of you that have asked, because I know at least one of you did, I got really nervous with my I love taking the videos of the people out there giving you misinformation and putting their clip and my answer, and having kind of a debate. But I found out reading through the YouTube laws and regulations and all that, that's not allowed. So I know everybody does it. It's like, remember when you told your mom, well, everybody's doing it, mom. I don't want to get sued. I mean, it's not like I'm making a career out of this or making a lot of money or anything like that, and I'm being sponsored by anybody. That's never going to happen. I'm small potatoes here, but I pulled all the ones that I used other people's content, because when I read YouTube's rules, it says you can't do that. So it really bums me out, because those are my favorite ones to make, because I really thought for you it'd be good to hear both sides directly from the horse's mouth, and then you could decide. But I'm I'm really nervous because I don't think you're supposed to do that. And again, I don't. I'm at this point in my life, I really don't want to get sued. So I'm still going to be responding to them, and I'll put a link so you could watch the video in total. But I'm not going to do the clips back and forth, because it. I know when I tell my son when I go to Minnesota, he's the one that got me into this. He's going to say I'm crazy, but um, that's what the rules say. So the fact everybody's breaking those rules, that doesn't mean I should. So, right. All right, guys, this has been awesome. Let me just, in case anybody, I think everybody's saying thanks, and I appreciate that. You guys could all read the rest. Again, go check out Jessica, the Nutrition RVN. She's on Instagram, and there's a few other really good ones there. Kat, the vet. She's another great one. Just good information. And that's all I'm about is trying to get better information out there to help you not be conned by these folks. And my next video, I will show you my Christmas decorations. They're up. They look really cool. So I will show you that. And I guess we'll go. But again, I appreciate you guys more than you know. This is really a great outlet for me. I guess I miss being in the clinics and doing all that stuff. So I get to do it here, and hopefully I'm being some help. So thanks, everybody. I'm going to cut off and go have a good night. And I really do appreciate you being here. And Ed, good job. You behaved very well. I'm very proud of you, buddy. Take care. Let's see now. How do I turn it off? I got to find the button. I think it's right here. Okay. Bye, everybody.